Happy New Year, guys. I've been seeing all of this stuff on the Somali daycares, and I want to slow this down for a second because a lot of people are stuck arguing about the surface story and they're missing what's actually happening underneath. You're seeing the videos about the Somali daycare centers and you're hearing the word fraud, you're hearing funding freezes, you're hearing outrage, and that's the distraction layer. What's actually happening has nothing to do with Somali providers specifically. This has been cycling through American daycare centers, group homes, rehabs, and social services for over 50 years. Different communities, same outcome, same system move. Every time you hear prove you're using the money correctly, what that actually means is prove it can be translated into data. This system no longer runs on trust, judgment, or human discretion. It runs on logs, timestamps, attendance verification, standardized notes, and machine-readable compliance. If your daycare, group home, or program can't feed clean data into a federal or state system, you become a risk. Not because you harmed anyone, but because you can't be audited fast enough. Here's the part that most people are missing. Caseworkers, inspectors, reviewers, the human decision makers are now the liability. They're not the solution. For the last decade, those workers have been training the software in real time. Every visit note, every attendance check, every compliance warning, every override. The system learned the patterns, the thresholds, the workarounds, and the excuses. Now, they don't need them the same way. That's why you're seeing job cuts. That's why you're seeing automation. That's why you're seeing funding freezes used as leverage instead of investigations. The machine doesn't ask questions, it flags, it scores, it suspends, it escalates, then it updates. This is the switch I've been talking about. It's not a policy change, not a political party. It's a structural handoff. Care used to be human first and documentation second. Now, documentation is first and care is optional as long as it fits inside the model. Immigrant ran, community ran. Informal systems get labeled high risk because flexibility looks like inconsistency to a machine. Trust looks like fraud, adaption looks like non-compliance, and think about this for a second. There are thousands of children with U.S. birth certificates who are missing inside the foster care system right now, today. Not rumors, not theories, documented gaps. Children who entered care and were never properly tracked out. That's not new. That stretches back decades. I personally know foster children lost inside the system, not to mention my own lifeline at 16 was cut. And this goes back 100 years into American history. All the way from there, up through the Obama era, through detention facilities, through kids in cages, through the faith-based organizations, group home giants that have been billing the government legally for years while outcomes have collapsed. And we're supposed to be outraged because a small group of providers might be stealing money? Money, by the way, in the exact same structures this government has protected, funded, and normalized for decades when it's done by large institutions with clean paperwork and political installation. Children went missing, children died, children were warehoused. Children have been erased in systems that are fully compliant. But this is the crisis? That tells you something important. It tells you that this outrage is not about children. It's about the control of the narrative and control of the pipeline. When a system suddenly decides to look moral, it's usually because the data layer is being reconfigured. The narrative engine is at full idle and you can hear it starting to throttle. So, what happens next is pretty predictable in my opinion. More centralized platforms, fewer humans allowed to override them, more temporary freezes that quietly shut down providers who can't adapt, more software vendors stepping in to fix the problem, and more families wondering why care feels colder, faster, and harder to access. This isn't about one group, it's about a system that decided humans are messy and liability is expensive. I've seen this movie before. Foster care was the pilot, CPS was the testing ground, predictive models were the rehearsal, child care is just the next node. And if you're still arguing about the surface narrative, you're already behind the switch. And like I've been saying, they're gonna say that you asked for this. Have a good New Year.